World War II conjures images of thunderous gunfire, the M1 Garand, the Thompson, battles raging in broad daylight. But in the war's deadliest shadows, a pistol no louder than a closing book was rewriting the rules. Nearly invisible, the Hi-Standard HDM let American spies and OSS operatives win wars in silence, sometimes with a single shot. Why did this tiny weapon become so critical that its very existence was kept secret? The answer starts with a problem no ordinary firearm could solve. In June 1942, the Office of Strategic Services, known as OSS, was born into a world where silence could mean survival. American operatives slipped behind enemy lines in France, Norway, and the jungles of Burma, carrying out missions where the sound of a single gunshot could doom not just the agent, but entire networks of resistance. Standard-issue sidearms like the M1911 thundered at over 140 decibels, louder than a jackhammer and impossible to hide. In the narrow alleys of occupied cities or the dense undergrowth of the Pacific, that noise was a death sentence. Sabotage teams needed to take out sentries before planting explosives under a rail bridge. Intelligence officers had to eliminate informants or collaborators quietly, vanishing before the enemy could respond. The OSS demanded a weapon that would not betray its user, a firearm that could be drawn and fired at close range, yet remain nearly invisible to the ear. Every mission carried the risk that a single mistake, a single echo, would unravel months of planning and cost countless lives. The stakes were not just personal, they were strategic. Each operation threatened to tip the balance of the war, and the wrong weapon could mean disaster. The need was clear: a pistol as silent as the shadows its users moved through, reliable enough to trust with a life, and small enough to disappear beneath a coat or into a briefcase. The OSS called for a tool purpose built for the silent war, a demand that would soon push American engineers to rethink what a sidearm could be. Engineers at Hi-Standard faced a challenge that demanded more than a simple fix. The OSS needed a pistol that could be trusted in the most unforgiving situations, one that would not betray an agent with a single misplaced sound. They began with the proven HD target pistol and transformed it into something entirely new. The choice of .22 long rifle might seem odd for a weapon of war. Most would expect a larger round, but the .22 long rifle offered a hidden advantage. It traveled slower than the speed of sound. That meant no supersonic crack even before suppression. For the OSS, stealth mattered more than brute force. At close range, a well-placed shot from a .22 was all that was needed. The suppressor was not an afterthought. It was built directly into the barrel, stretching nearly 7 inches beyond the frame. Inside, layers of bronze mesh and baffles captured and tamed the blast. When fired, the HDM's report dropped by more than 20 decibels, down to a soft pop, barely louder than a heavy book landing on a desk. This was not a weapon for firefights. It was meant for moments where one sound too many could be fatal. Agents could fire, then slip away before anyone realized the shot had been fired at all. Despite the integral suppressor, the HDM remained compact and light, weighing just 2.4 pounds. Its blowback, semi-automatic action allowed for quick follow-ups if needed, but training emphasized making the first shot count. Every element of the HDM's design, its caliber, its suppressor, and its weight, served a single purpose: to give OSS operatives a silent answer to a deadly problem. A concealed weapon can mean the difference between life and death for an operative in hostile territory. The Hi-Standard HDM was designed with this reality in mind. Its slim profile and lightweight frame allowed it to vanish beneath a jacket, slip into a specially made holster, or ride unnoticed in the false bottom of a briefcase. OSS agents often dressed as merchants, laborers, or local officials, moving through crowded streets and enemy checkpoints. Carrying a full-size service pistol would draw unwanted attention, but the compact shape of the HDM made it easy to hide, even when every movement was under suspicion. Agents trained to keep the pistol close, under the arm, pressed against the ribs, or tucked into a side pocket. Holsters were tailored for quick access, with some designed to be worn inside the waistband or sewn discreetly into civilian clothing. In more sensitive situations, the pistol could be carried in a briefcase lined with cloth to muffle any accidental noise. The weight, just over 2 pounds, meant it could be carried all day without fatigue, a critical advantage during long missions behind enemy lines. Engagements were expected to happen at arm's length, sometimes in the cramped quarters of a train compartment, or a shadowy alley. The HDM had a short barrel and an integral suppressor, which made it ideal for these close encounters, where a single, quiet shot had to be enough. Concealment was not just about hiding the weapon from sight. It was about ensuring the agent could move, act, and escape before anyone realized what had happened. For the OSS, blending in was survival, and the HDM was built to disappear until the moment it was needed most. Only a select group of Office of Strategic Services, OSS, operatives ever held the Hi-Standard HDM in their hands. Select operatives were given a tool meant for the quietest jobs. Out of the millions of firearms produced during World War II, barely a few thousand left the factory. Estimates range from 1,000 to 2,600, and that scarcity was by design. The HDM was never intended for standard issue. It was reserved for missions where stealth meant survival, and where a single quiet shot could change the course of an operation. In occupied Europe, OSS teams worked alongside resistance fighters to cripple Nazi logistics. Sabotage missions often began in the darkness, with agents slipping past sentries to plant explosives on railway lines or communication hubs. The HDM's near-silent report allowed operatives to eliminate a guard at close range without alerting others. That bought precious minutes to escape before the first alarm could be raised. Each pistol was issued with the expectation that it might be used for a single decisive act, removing a collaborator, silencing a sentry, or clearing the way for a sabotage team. The weapon was meant to enable one decisive moment. Far from European cities, other OSS detachments moved through the dense jungles of the Pacific. There, the HDM served as both a tool for silent defense and a means to take out enemy patrols without giving away a unit's position. Jungle conditions made every sound dangerous. The jungle amplified sound, and even a suppressed shot could mean the difference between a clean getaway and a deadly pursuit. With so few produced, the Hi-Standard HDM became a symbol of the secret war, a weapon trusted only to those whose missions required absolute silence. Its impact was measured not in numbers, but in the missions that succeeded because no one heard the shot. After the war, the story of the Hi-Standard HDM did not end in a warehouse. The newly formed CIA took over Office of Strategic Services stocks, and it kept the suppressed pistols in active use as the Cold War unfolded. CIA field officers relied on these same .22 caliber pistols for missions that demanded absolute discretion. They were sometimes issued to U-2 pilots, such as Francis Gary Powers, whose captured HDM became a symbol of espionage in Moscow's museums. The HDM's performance set a new standard for covert sidearms, compact, integrally suppressed, and chambered for subsonic ammunition that made each shot blend into the background noise of city streets or jungle night. Intelligence agencies worldwide began seeking pistols with similar qualities. Suppressed Walther PP and PPK models, and later generations of silenced handguns, followed the pattern the HDM had established. Though designs evolved, the core requirements, stealth, reliability, and concealment remained, all tracing back to lessons first learned in the shadows of World War II. Surviving Hi-Standard HDM pistols are among the rarest artifacts of World War II espionage. Out of approximately 2,600 produced for the Office of Strategic Services, the letters OSS, most were lost in the field, destroyed after the war, or kept under lock and key by intelligence agencies. Today, fewer than a dozen authenticated examples are known to exist in museums and private collections worldwide. Auction records reveal the intense demand among collectors. An original HDM with verified Office of Strategic Services provenance can command prices well into the five-figure range. At a recent Rock Island auction, one such pistol sold for over $20,000, its value driven as much by its secretive past as by its scarcity. Curators and historians treat each surviving HDM as a tangible link to the shadow war that shaped modern intelligence work. For collectors, owning an HDM is more than acquiring a firearm. It is holding a piece of history that was never meant to leave the shadows. Today, the HDM's legacy shapes every tool designed for silent action. It is proof that true power often hides in the quietest hands. As intelligence wars evolve, the demand for stealth only grows. In a world obsessed with noise, silence remains the ultimate weapon. What do you think? Does stealth still rule?